meeting to order. Let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Bergman? Present. Commissioner Marsters?
Present.
Commissioner Harper Pedersen?
Present.
Commissioner Gutierrez?
Present.
And David Silberman is out.
So we're heading to public comment. This portion of the agenda is to hear from the public on the matters that are not on the agenda. Is there anybody here to speak on any items that are not on the agenda? I actually wanted to point out, too, we have a revised agenda, right, adding one sub-point, basically, and that is under the public hearing, 17 Greenfield Avenue, we have a section B now.
Yes, Chair, that is correct. Under item 8A, there has been a preparation of a revised agenda to add another sub-item under this category at 17 Cranfield, and that is for the specific of purposely calling out the environmental document prepared for this agenda item, the mitigated negative declaration. It is required to be cited on the agenda itself. This is due to recent case law that has come out regarding the issue. The notices that went out were all satisfactory. The one thing that we didn't have was it listed on the agenda, so that has been provided.
Thank you. So no one's here to speak on anything that's not on the agenda. Okay, we're moving along. Can I get I don't know if has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? We're approving 2 sets of minutes from May 19th and June 16th. Anybody have any corrections?
I don't have any.
Okay. I move to approve the Planning Commission minutes of May 19th, June 16th, 2014.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving along to consent. Did everybody get a chance to read all the material on that? If I can get a motion in a second, please.
Sure. Let me just flip to the motion page and I'll make it. I move that the Planning Commission pass a resolution to adopt a mitigation monitoring and reporting program to implement the mitigation measures contained in the Certified Initial Study / Mitigated Negative Declaration as a part of the design review permit approved for the installation of one new water storage tank at 700 Crestview Drive and the installation of one new water storage tank at 3376 and 3384 Melody Drive.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Wait a minute, before you vote on it, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So the only concern that I had in this was there's a post a publicly visible sign with a telephone number and person to contact the city regarding dust complaints. This person shall respond and take corrective actions within 48 hours. It just seemed odd to me that we would wait 48 hours if there was a dust complaint to address that issue. So it's actually on page 3 of the plan. Table 1.
Error. AIR-1.
So Commissioner Marsters, are you suggesting a change in the time or an
yeah.
explanation of why that time is given?
I'm sort of wondering if this is standard procedure or not, but
I see.
48 hours just seemed to me like you're not really willing to solve the problem. You're just, the dust.
May have settled. Is that kind of okay? I see what you mean.
Perfect.
No pun intended, the dust may have settled.
Yeah, especially after 2 days.
Yeah, through the chair, is the commission suggesting making a modification to the previously approved mitigation measures of the MND for the project? Is that?
I guess the question is that an approved mitigation that is already there. I understood
Oh.
that the phone number would be there, but did we approve a 48-hour time of reporting and addressing the concerns?
Yes, I'm sorry, thank you for that clarification. The mitigation measures that are in this table are, basically drawn verbatim from the mitigated negative declaration that was approved for the Cal Water Tank project.
Okay. And is 48 hours standard for dust complaints?
I'd have to look that up.
I'm okay with it. I just thought I'd follow up with that.
It seems like, there's not necessarily a reason to have somebody complain or somebody contact the individual if they're not going to do anything as part of the. It just seems like it's not solving a problem to me.
And through the chair, if I may, I just received some additional information. We actually have one of our environmental consultants on hand for another item that's on the agenda later on this evening, but she has informed me that the language actually comes as a recommendation from the Air District. So the information that was in the mitigated negative declaration regarding this 48-hour time frame is consistent with the Air District's recommendations. So that's where it comes from.
Can we leave the wording the way it is and strongly encourage the group that's doing the construction to address problems in a more timely manner?
Certainly, I can be happy to pass that on through the building division and let them know that this is something that the commission, the city would like to see as part of, them doing a little bit more.
And maybe in the future when we have these types of issues, maybe 48-hour complaint time is, for certain things, that's probably fine, but for other things, it should probably reflect the issue and how long that's going to be. Thank you.
Any more discussion? So there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Moving along to new business, 1525 Cherry Street and 700 Chestnut Street, APN 050-141-040, 050-141-370, 050-141-360. Consideration of request to grant an extension of time for filing a final parcel map.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Jill Lewis, and I will present to you the request to grant an extension of time for filing a final parcel map for the Cherry Chestnut project located at 1525 Cherry Street and 700 Chestnut Street. To refresh your memory, this is the project site, which is at the southeast corner of the intersection of Chestnut and Cherry Streets. A little background. On September 8th, 2008, the Planning Commission granted approval of a project which included a plan of development, which thereby amended the zoning ordinance and zoning map, a request for conditional use permit, architectural review, and grading and dirt haul permit approval, and a tentative parcel map certificate. Previous extensions were granted to allow extra time to file a final map in 2010, 2011, and 2012 due to the state of the economy and the real estate market. The applicant submitted the subject request stating that while the financing of the project is underway, they wouldn't be able to submit a final map before it expires on September 12th, 2014. So the Subdivision Map Act pertains to the division of land within the state of California, designating control of the design and improvements to local jurisdictions. In 2013, the California legislature enacted a 24-month extension for filing of final maps that had received approval on or after July 1st, 2000, and had not expired prior to July 11th, 2013. Since the last extension granted by the city was valid through September 12th, 2014, the tentative map certificate can be extended. So it is recommended that the Planning Commission approve the request submitted by Mr. Dan Rottinghouse on behalf of Cherry Chestnut Development LLC to extend the approval date to file a final parcel map for 1525 Cherry Street and 700 Chestnut Street for a period of 2 years with an expiration date of September 12th, 2016. This would be the formal motion, should you choose to make it, and at this time, I'm available for any questions that the commissioners may have of staff.
I just have one question. It's more procedural. I thought I had read that the code doesn't limit the number of extensions. I'm just curious if that's the case, if I read that right, that we could, in theory, extend this continuously 2 years forever.
That is correct. The Subdivision Map Act, not the Subdivision Act. The subdivision ordinance of the city does not prescribe a limitation. However, it does provide a process by which an extension would need to be considered, which is coming before the Planning Commission, the decision-making body, asking for a request for such extension.
Thank you.
Any more questions for staff?
Do we have to extend it for 2 years?
That is correct, because this is a provision that is set into place by the actual State of California Subdivision Map Act. So it does grant this particular final extension for the project due to the economic downturn. So the city cannot trump the Subdivision Map Act.
Right, but that's where I'm sort of, you said this final extension, and then she's talking about the fact that you can't extend it, you can extend it indefinitely, but it sounded to me like you were saying this final extension, is that, where's the inconsistency there?
Right. So the city cannot be more restrictive than the state. So the city's subdivision ordinance does not conflict with the state, but the state is providing developers to take advantage of this additional extension, where the city cannot deny it in this particular instance. But if the following this extension that's granted through the state's requirement, the city could take a different action, I suppose, following September 2016.
So in 2016, we could deny the request to extend?
If they haven't exercised it by then, the city could, yeah. But we cannot deny in this particular instance, because this is one of the extensions that the state has set into place that cities need to abide by.
Any other questions for staff? Is there anyone that wants to speak on this item from the public?
Okay.
Any other discussion?
No?
No?
Do you want a motion?
Can I get a motion?
Okay. I move that the Planning Commission approve the request from Mr. Dan Rottinghouse to extend the approval date to file a final parcel map associated with the construction of 1525 Cherry Street and 700-050-141-370, 050-141-360 for a period of 2 years with an expiration date of September 12, 2016, and that the tentative parcel map certificate shall be amended to include, as shown in bold type and underlined on the tentative parcel map certificate, and extended to September 12, 2016 by the Planning Commission on July 21st, 2014.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, moving along. Public hearing. So the procedures for public hearing, staff will present a report on the history, physical features, et cetera, on the application, followed with the staff's recommendations. The applicant will make a presentation. Thereafter, interested members of the community may speak on the proposal. When all interested parties have had an opportunity to be heard, the hearing will be closed and no further discussions from the floor can be held. The commission will then consider the evidence and make its recommendation. If you challenge a public hearing item in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else has raised at public hearing described in this notice. The public notice or written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing Speakers should fill out a speaker's form. I guess they're still probably found at the door, maybe not. Okay. And hand it to the recording secretary prior to addressing the commission. The speaker should come to the microphone to speak since the meeting is being recorded. This will assist staff in preparing the minutes, and we are hearing item A and B together.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Jill Lewis, and I'll present to you the request for consideration of approval of a mitigated negative declaration, general plan map, and zoning district boundary map amendments, tentative parcel map, grading and dirt haul permit, and heritage/protected tree removal permit associated with the request for project approval of 17 Cranfield Avenue and the adjoining parcels currently within San Mateo County. The project site is located at the southeast end of Cranfield Avenue, closest to the intersection with Alameda de las Pulgas. The project site includes an existing parcel, 17 Cranfield Avenue, that's currently located within the city of San Carlos, and 4 parcels currently within unincorporated San Mateo County. The site includes 5 existing lots, lots 21 through 25. Only lot 21, including the existing residence, is within the city of San Carlos's boundaries. Lots 22 through 25 would be annexed from San Mateo County to the city of San Carlos. An additional 13,620 square feet would be annexed from San Mateo County to the city of San Carlos to extend the Cranfield Avenue right-of-way and to accommodate the proposed cul-de-sac. Parcel 1, the westernmost and smallest lot, would be consistent with the existing zoning of RS6, which is single-family residential, in terms of minimum lot size. The new parcels 2, 3, and 4 would be comparable in area, measuring at least 10,189 square feet at minimum, consistent with the city's subdivision ordinance and proposed zoning of RS3, which is single-family residential low density, which requires a minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet. The existing residence located at 17 Cranfield would be demolished. All 5 parcels would be subsequently subdivided into 4 parcels that would be developed in the future with a single-family house on each parcel. An initial study, mitigated negative declaration, has been prepared pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act by the firm Lamphere Gregory. The request for a site to annex into the city is a multi-step process that I'd like to briefly go over. The first step, determining if a site is within the LAFCO adopted sphere of influence. A sphere of influence is a map outlining future boundary, organization, and service plans for cities. This site is within the city's sphere of influence. The next step is to amend the general plan map to give the site a general plan land use designation and to pre-zone the site to give it the future zoning district designation. These steps amend the city boundary line and are part of the request before you tonight. Subsequent to tonight's meeting, these same requests will go forward to the City Council for a final decision. Following such, the city and county work together on the property tax exchange value, which is formally adopted by City Council resolution. The last step is the formal annexation hearing by LAFCO. Following approval, the annexation of the site into the city is complete. First, you are asked to consider the initial study mitigated negative declaration, or ISM&D for short. You may make a recommendation to the City Council on the ISM&D, although the 30-day public comment period required by CEQA, which is the California Environmental Quality Act, runs through August 11th, 2014. You may also make recommendations to the City Council on the proposed general plan map and zoning map amendments. Finally, as the approving body for the tentative parcel map, the grading and dirt haul permit, and the heritage and protected tree removal permit requests, you may approve these entitlements contingent upon City Council and LAFCO approval of the proposed annexation. Every parcel is required to have a general zoning. Every parcel is required to have a zoning district consistent with its underlying adopted general plan. In order to consider annexation, the site must have a general plan land use designation. It is recommended to amend the map boundary and designate this property as single-family low density, which has a maximum of 3 dwelling units per acre. The site meets the intent of the single-family low density use classification. The general plan adopted Goal 4 and numerous land use policies pertaining to annexation have been outlined within the staff report. The proposed project is found to be consistent with all of the relevant annexation policies. The zoning ordinance includes a means for how to process pre-zoning and annexation requests. Requests need to comply with both the required findings of the zoning district boundary map amendments as well as the criteria of the pre-zoning and annexation ordinance. The site is proposed to be pre-zoned to RS3, just single-family low density. This is consistent with the underlying proposed general plan designation and required by the zoning ordinance for properties with development potential of less than 5 lots. As required within the pre-zoning and annexation chapter of the zoning ordinance, the project site consisting of 17 Cranfield Avenue and the adjoining parcels currently under the county's jurisdiction is contiguous to the city boundary, and provisions will be made to become contiguous to a city street. A fiscal impact analysis has been prepared by RSG, an economic development and consulting firm, to evaluate recurring revenues and service costs that may be associated with the project. RSG's report shows that the existing service levels provided by police and fire are enough to cover the future development of 3 new lots. There would even be a small fiscal benefit to the city from property taxes generated by the 3 new parcels. Connection to city sewer, water, and storm drain lines would be extended from the existing utilities along Cranfield Avenue. This image provides a visual of which land is currently within the city's jurisdiction and which land is proposed for annexation. The applicant has submitted an application for vesting tentative parcel map to perform a lot line adjustment between lots 21 and 22 and creating 4 new lots out of 5 existing lots. Approximately 2,339 square feet will be taken from lot 21, which is currently the property at 17 Cranfield Avenue, and used to facilitate the creation of 3 newly annexed lots with a minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet, as well as the minimum width and depth requirements of 75 feet and 100 feet respectively. The proposed lot configuration and proposed means of access was reviewed and accepted by Public Works staff and the contract city surveyor. There are 10 findings that the Planning Commission must make in order to approve a tentative parcel map. As detailed within the staff report, staff finds that all 10 findings can be made. This is the proposed subdivision map, which shows the new lot configuration and proposed easements. Water, gas, and sanitary sewer lines will be extended along the proposed Cranfield Avenue right-of-way, connecting each parcel directly on the frontage. An existing sanitary sewer easement on proposed parcel 4 will be made unnecessary by proposed improvements and will be abandoned upon completion of off-site sanitary sewer improvements. A storm drain extension is proposed from the corner of Cranfield Avenue at the intersection of Alameda de las Pulgas along the existing Cranfield Avenue right-of-way, and is shown here connecting to each parcel via the 10-foot storm drain easement along the back or northern side of the property. Planning Commission approval is required under San Carlos Municipal Code Chapter 12.08 whenever grading exceeds 1,000 total cubic yards. Approximately 2,100 cubic yards of earth will be cut from the site, and 1,600 cubic yards of earth will fill the site for a net export of 500 cubic yards. In total, approximately 39 truck trips are anticipated. The earthwork is required to facilitate the creation of 4 future building pads, and the extension of the roadway ending in a cul-de-sac. A dirt haul permit must be issued when dirt is hauled to or from any location within the city and/or over any public street. It is anticipated that each of the trucks will haul 13 cubic yards of earth for 39 total truck trips to and from the site. The proposed haul route from the site is Cranfield Avenue to Alameda de las Pulgas to Ralston Avenue to US Highway 101. The haul site has yet to be determined. A condition has been added to the grading and dirt haul certificate requiring that the applicant obtain permission from the city of Belmont to haul dirt over their city streets. An arborist report was submitted by the applicant that details the size and condition of the trees 9 inches and larger in diameter, with recommendations for preservation and protection during roadway construction. The report identified 26 trees either on or overhanging the project site. Of these 26 trees, 12 coast live oaks would be considered heritage, and 7 black walnuts and 1 Modesto ash would be considered significant due to the circumference outside of bark measured at 48 inches above natural grade. 14 total trees are proposed for removal, 3 of which do not require a permit for removal due to their species type. All of the trees are in the path of the roadway or other planned construction, and future landscaping plans for each property would be required at the design phase as part of the design review approval. An ISM&D has been prepared by Lamphere Gregory, a city-chosen environmental consultant pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, to identify any potentially significant environmental effects associated with the specific merits of the project itself. There are 17 different environmental factors that must be considered as required by CEQA when considering the requested project entitlements and overall development of the project. The initial study identified several potentially significant impacts that could result from the project related to air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, geology and soils, and noise. However, since the initial study concluded that these impacts could be mitigated to a level of insignificance, a mitigated negative declaration was prepared. CEQA requires a public review period, and that began July 10th, 2014, and will run through August 11th, 2014. Although the 30-day period continues on after this public hearing, the Planning Commission can still recommend that the City Council adopt the mitigated negative declaration based on the findings within the ISM&D. Planning staff will take comments on the ISM&D through August 11th, 2014. Thus far, planning staff has received no comments on the environmental document. These are the 2 recommendations outlined in the staff report regarding the project, the first of which recommends the Commission recommend that the City Council adopt the mitigated negative declaration and general plan and zoning district boundary amendments to allow for the pre-zoning and annexation of the project site composed of 17 Cranfield Avenue and the adjoining parcels, and the second of which approves the tentative parcel map, the request for a grading and dirt haul permit, and the request for a heritage or protected tree removal permit, which would be contingent upon the City Council and LAFCO approval of the pre-zoning and annexation request. These are 2 out of the 4 formal motions you are asked to make this evening, with the 3rd and 4th motions on the next slide if and when you are ready to make them. With that, I am happy to answer any questions you may have of staff. The applicant is also here this evening with his civil engineer, and they can be available to answer any questions you may have of the specific project design. Also, Rebecca Gordon is here representing Lamphere Gregory and is the primary ISM&D preparer who can answer any questions pertaining to the environmental document. Thank you.
Any questions for staff?
Just a quick clarification on process for next steps. So, and I think you answered it during the presentation mostly, but I just wanted to make sure I got it right. So we are allowed then to essentially recommend adoption, even though the public comment period will not be done till August.
That is correct.
Okay. And then at some point, the actual plans for each parcel will come before the RDRC for design review approval?
Yes, that is also correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Those are my only questions of staff.
So the question I had is, are we annexing the street also and the cul-de-sac?
Yes, you're making a recommendation on those as well.
Okay.
Shannon.
There's several trees that are suggested being removed. Could you explain one more time why there were so many? They're in the path of the roadway or planned construction. That's the reason why they're supposed to be moved?
Yes.
There were no, or I don't believe I read anything regarding problems with birds nesting at that point, or there was a provision to actually do removal or clearing outside of the nesting times?
I believe there's a mitigation measure that speaks to that, and Rebecca Gordon can help you answer that.
Is this on? Yes?
I think so.
So I'm Rebecca Gordon with Lanford Gregory, primary report preparers. We did include mitigation that would require a pre-construction nesting survey and then recommendations from the biologist, either avoidance, wait for the nesting to be fledged, or remove the nest. So.
And there was a specific rat that there was a nest that was found there, but am I correct in my understanding that if that rat nest was removed, it would not have a negative impact on the overall population of that species?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other staff questions?
None for me.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up to public comment. So I have one speaker card right now. Is there anybody else that wanted to speak in regards to this? Okay. So let's start with the first speaker. And I'm going to unfortunately butcher the last name, Mr. Azrawal.
I had two main concerns. The first was the amount of dirt being hauled from the site. It would impact, I guess, existing residents and people who live there. They have to kind of face the dust. So my question is there any suggestion or how to contain the dirt so that people who actually live there don't have to inhale all that dirt while the construction is going on? And in particular, I have allergies that I don't want. And I'm next door. I'm at 11 Cranfield, which is adjacent to all the three lots. So I want to see some containment of during construction and dirt hauling that doesn't leave all my house messy and dirty. The second, I guess, related on that point is you're gonna haul 30 trucks on that street, and probably when the construction starts, you're gonna have 30 more loading lumber and all that stuff. 3 years ago, our street was in very bad condition, and then you guys repaved it, which is good. I don't want to end up having a bad street again after all the construction's done, and we're back to what it was 3 years ago. So I want to see something based on that. And I guess the third related comment is, I guess there was some plan shown about the storm drain system, but the way our street is right now it's kind of ad hoc. People have kind of built drains and tried to mitigate some of that storm drain system. But I would like to see the plans for, I guess it doesn't concern me so much, but people down the hill, they see, water going to their front yards. And I don't know if it's part of the site's development, or it can be extended to the city, to the whole street, the storm system. Because I don't think there is any storm system in our street. The last one is I don't know. I see a lot of deer and raccoon in the adjacent lot. It may not be something that may be observed in the daytime, but in the evenings and all that, I'm not sure if the environmental assessment takes that into consideration. There might be deer sites around. I mean, they can be nuisance sometimes, but they're good to see. And one other thing was the existing 17 Cranfield has, I don't know, is it RS6?
Yes, R6.
Okay. How much is the existing square footage of that one?
It's over 8,000 square feet
Oh,
currently.
Okay. Yeah, I was just making sure that when you annex it, it's gonna be similar to all the other RS6 in the lot. And the final comment is, I mean, the general street, our general houses on our street are usually small houses, like up to 3,000 square feet. And and the adjacent street, Club Drive, is where all the big houses are with 3 stories and more than 4,000 square feet. I'm assuming that, and I saw some plans that when you actually get the RS3 lots, which are the 3 big houses, 4,000 square feet, I'm not sure if it's going to conform to the neighborhood. 4,000 square feet houses on a street which has all 3,000 or less. I'm not sure if it's going to stand out and make it not look conformant to the general street. So those were my main concerns.
Okay, thank you. Can we start addressing some of those? The dust in the air, that construction management procedures take care of most of that stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's also a mitigation measure in the environmental document.
Okay.
I mean, they have to spray down the.
Yes.
The dirt, yeah,
Yep.
dust.
I would like to see, I know it's part of the construction. I'd like to see a fence or some kind of fence to my lot, because I'm just adjacent to that. Before starting any construction or anything, I would like to see a good 6 or 8 feet fence to my lot, so that I don't have to face all the dirt in my lot.
In forms of street condition, that's also a liability on any kind of construction that goes on. If they've damaged the street, they have to repair it, correct?
That's correct. I believe that came up at perhaps the last annexation this commission heard on Club Drive. There were similar concerns about the street.
And I would imagine, I think it actually is in there, the storm drain issues, that they all should tie in and not create any kind of additional issue in that area, correct? I'm just going one by one.
I
so-
believe the civil engineer would address that.
Okay.
My name is Roland Hogg. I'm with BKF Engineers, 255 Shoreline Drive, Suite 200, Redwood City. Yeah, the only storm drain in the area is about 200 feet to the east of the site. And all the parcels along Cranfield right now drain to that inlet. So one of the things we're doing is improving Cranfield along the whole entire project frontage with new storm drainage and inlets. C3 treatment of stormwater is included in the project, but we are extending the storm drainage 200 feet to the east to the existing city system. Talking to the client and the contractor, we still have to talk to the city a little bit, because we are putting in the extension of storm drain lines, and there's no storm drains along the street at any kind of interval. And we'll take a look at that with Public Works through the design process if there's opportunities to improve that in any way, working with the city. And on the dirt, just to put it in perspective, a swimming pool is about 350 cubic yards. So we're looking at about 2 swimming pools of removing dirt, just in context.
Thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the water from the property have to be addressed on the property? I thought when you were building new houses that you had to have all the drainage essentially remain on the property in some manner.
Yes, you're correct, Commissioner Marsters. On each of the individual lots where future development will be proposed, the on-site drainage issues need to be addressed. Perhaps the comment had to do with the drainage as a result of the extension of the street, I believe. But you're right, otherwise, on-site drainage does need to be addressed through the proposed future development.
It sounds like an improvement, at least, of the street's drainage, if I'm understanding.
The issue with deers and raccoons, was that taken into?
When I read the, I did read
Okay.
about raccoons, not so much deer.
I didn't read about deers, yeah.
Okay.
But we'll-
Sure, if I can respond.
Sure.
We did have a biologist out there. They looked at all the species out there, and there are common species out there. But the question under CEQA is whether you would impact the communities of species, and particularly sensitive species, which raccoons and deer are not considered. So.
Okay. And then there was another issue of size of homes after the annexation that would come into play in RDRC, correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding of the one of the items that the public speaker commented on. Just for clarification, the one site that is currently in the city will remain RS6 and will be allowed to develop under all of those provisions, and the remaining 3 lots, 3 lots will be designated RS3, which in terms of development capacity is almost half the development intensity of what the RS6 would allow. For example, right now in our current code, RS6 sites are allowed to have a lot coverage of 50%, whereas the RS3 are limited to 25%. So the amount of area that you can cover is more limited when you're under RS3. So there'll be 1 RS6 and then 3 RS3 lots.
Oh, that's good.
Great. So I think I covered most of all those items, right? Great. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next speaker, Patrice Breton.
Hi, I'm Patrice Breton. Basically, we're 18 Cranfield Avenue, so just facing the construction site. So yeah, we do have some concern which match some of the previous speaker.
I'm sorry, can you speak a little closer?
Yep. So one of the concerns is definitely the street. Cranfield is a pretty small street. Parking is very limited. The street is in bad shape. So having a lot of construction going over there will be a problem. I don't even see how those truck would be able to get through the street at some point during the day. So I don't know how this will be addressed. Is there any improvement before the project to help traffic? Or what will be the mitigation at that point? Parking also for workers and everybody that will work on site could be an issue. If they have to park on the street, right now there's no parking, so I don't know where they will go. If they are going to the extension of the street, then that would be okay, but otherwise there will be a problem. Talking about the trees also and the shape of the street currently, it's true that it's mostly small houses and it's kind of countryside. And the trees which are currently on the street, I'm worried that they would disappear. So I don't know which trees are impacted right now, but I would like to keep our street kind of the way it is right now and keep the trees which are on the side of the street. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we see which the area that the trees are going to be or suggested to be removed? Because visually, is there a way to see in our packet where the trees are?
It's in our
Should be-
packet.
Yeah, it should be in your packet within the
page.
arborist report.
Yeah, it's on the back.
Or actually, a larger size copy is available in your plan set.
Oh, okay.
But we don't have a slide for that, right?
No,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, so I'm just going to summarize. Same question about the street and the issues with the condition of the street. Parking, now I know we've dealt with this before. Parking is part of, again, construction management procedure and correct?
That's correct. When these projects come forward for design review, they will be routed through to the different city departments, and at that time, Public Works sets forth and requires applicants to submit a construction management plan, which includes and addresses the parking of the vehicles and general operations of the street.
I know
And ensure that the street is still, open for the public to travel through.
I know in previous residential situations that we looked at, some of them have been able to stage construction parking on site. Is that something we can require of this project?
Well, that typically would be addressed through the design review process when we have an actual development application
Got it.
proposed.
Got it.
So the next step, basically.
Okay. I
Okay.
mean, obviously, that would depend on which lot is getting built, but
Yeah.
I think we've done that at least once before in one very challenged street that I can't remember the
It-
name. Maybe Coronado?
No, Coronado was one of them, yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I think we hit all those. Some of them are repetitive.
Okay, so I'm seeing where the trees are going to be removed. I'm trying to get an understanding of where the neighbors' houses are in relationship to the properties. On what? Just above?
Across the street, basically.
Okay, up here, okay.
So it does look to me like a lot of the trees that are sort of along the street and along the property line are the ones that are going to be removed. And I'm not sure that that they necessarily need to be removed to actually build the buildings. And so that concerns me.
Which specific trees? Like,
Is it because it's a roadway that they're creating a roadway in? Because these are like right along, it looks like most of the trees are right along
The street.
the street, so I'm wondering the necessity of removing them.
Yeah, I sort of understand the one that's in the middle of the road, and maybe the one that is in potentially where they want to put a driveway, and maybe one that's in the middle of where a house is. But there's an awful lot of trees that it looks to me like I'm just not sure why they need to be removed, especially in particular the two trees or the three trees that seem to be right along the property line of the other property that would, in effect, screen some of the new houses from the neighbors.
Is there somebody who could speak to that?
Can the applicant?
With grading, I think you're noticing the trees right on the bend there.
There's
Well,
these
yeah,
here
especially up
and-
along the top and
Yeah, the ones along the road, we have to meet the geotechnical concerns when we're grading in this area. So the grading associated with the street will go well past the limits of the street in order for the street to be constructed to city standards and geotechnical issues met and so forth. So many of the trees within the street or within 10 feet of the street will be removed or damaged as part of that
To
process.
be damaged because of the grading that has
Right.
to occur for geotechnical
Correct.
reasons?
Correct.
Okay. Can you speak to the ones at the top of the property line that are bordering the neighbors?
That, there's an easement there for utilities, for storm drain in that area. That'll be along the southern lot line or that area. That's the only thing I can think that those trees are being removed for. If you look on, let me see.
So you're referring to, like, I think it's 19, is that what you're,
Right.
like, these ones right here, that's where the easement is.
Sheet 7 of 12 on the tentative map shows the utility construction along that eastern line, and that might explain some of it.
I think we gotta go to
The big plans. Darn, I like my little plans.
Can you give me that number again?
Pardon?
What number?
It's sheet 7. That shows the underground utilities along the easterly line of the back of parcels 2, 3, and 4, and they're collective stormwater treatment facilities that'll be on each lot. The area adjacent to the a neighboring house has a 10-foot easement within this project that will be placing that utility in. Part of the city ordinance also requires that we leave 25% of the lot in its natural state, so we have to leave the center of the lot in its natural state and use the edges and the road in the front.
So it looks like it's all tied in. Right here, these are, that's two right there. It's all because of storm drain.
That is what it looks like to me.
Does it look like there's overhead lines that are going to be put in that would end up needing the trees to be removed?
There's no overhead lines proposed. This will be undergrounded as required by the city ordinance. So everything within the limits of work along Cranefield will be undergrounded.
Trench line, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, that's why those are.
Okay.
So the question I have is the intent to replace all the trees that are being removed?
Yes, Commissioner, well, through the tree removal permit that they would be required to obtain from the city. We have a one-to-one replacement criteria, so the answer to that would be yes. When they come and ask for their tree removal permit, the city would require that replacement trees be provided.
And can I encourage that those be placed strategically so as to block views from one neighbor to the other?
Yes, you can do that. There are requirements that the development will have to abide by when they do come forward for a design review permit to construct a new home. There's requirements in the landscape ordinance that a certain number of trees be provided for every square footage of new development. So they'll be at minimum required to do that in conjunction with the replacement tree, and also the requirement to provide at least one of those trees as a street-oriented tree. And if there is additional direction that the commission would like to provide when that process does come forward, you can let us know what that is as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I have one more speaker card. Roxanne Kelly.
Hello. My family owned that property that we've just sold to Paul, and I've been living in the house on number 17 for quite a while. I can assure you the only impact to the deer will be they won't be able to eat the plants I've put in anymore. It might be helpful, the neighbors, Paul and Caddy and some of the others who live up at the top of the street, they're really great folks, and I would really like it if maybe someone could come out and tell them which trees are going. And also there was a survey that was done where it showed where the road was going to be widened, but we have some questions on, does that mean there'll be curbs there or sidewalks or whatever? So maybe at some point before things start rolling, someone could just kind of come out and let the neighbors know. I think maybe that would help. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak in regards to this item? All right, if not, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
I wasn't seconding that motion. All right, discussion. Shannon, do you have any
I
Scott.
think all of it can be addressed in the design review.
yeah, design review? It sounds like a lot of these issues are more design related, which will
Yes.
present a bunch of other issues, so.
Yes.
Just a couple quick comments. I think, number one, since we changed or amended the zoning ordinance to actually require the landscaping plan during our DRC, I think that will indeed help a lot of the issues that we've seen, that we might see here, or that we've certainly seen in other situations to address some of these concerns. And then I did just want to say, I found the cultural report and the tree report fascinating. So thank you. I just really enjoyed that.
Very good.
It was nice to know a little bit more about the history of our area from an archaeological perspective and a biological perspective. So thank you. And that's it.
So, can I get a motion if there's no other further discussion?
Waiting for Jill to put it up. We have to do these one at a time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Want to take turns?
Yeah. You want to go first?
Okay. I move that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution recommending the City Council adopt a mitigated negative declaration for the project site generally known as 17 Cranfield Avenue, APN 049-072-310, 17 Cranfield Avenue, in the City of San Carlos, and parcels currently in the county 049-072-020, and 049-072-030, and 049-072-120, and 049-072-320, based on the findings and for the reasons as discussed within the staff report and within the prepared initial study / mitigated negative declaration.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next motion.
I move that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution recommending the City Council adopt a general plan amendment for the properties adjoining the property known as 17 Cranfield Avenue, APNs 049-072-020, 049-072-030, 049-072-120, and 049-072-320, to a land use designation of a single-family, low-density, 3 dwelling units per acre, based on the findings and for the reasons as discussed within the staff report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. I move that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution recommending the City Council adopt a zoning district boundary map amendment for the properties adjoining the property known as 17 Cranfield Avenue, APN 072-020, 049-072-030, 049-072-120, and 049-072-320, to allow for pre-zoning of the property to RS3 single-family low density based on the findings and for the reasons as discussed within the staff report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move that the Planning Commission approve the tentative parcel map as proposed, the grading and dirt haul permit, and the heritage / protected tree removal permit at the project site generally known as 17 Cranfield Avenue, APN 049-072-310, 17 Cranfield Avenue, and parcels currently in the county 049-072-020, 049-072-030, 049-072-120, and 049-072-320, based on the findings and for the reasons incorporated in the staff report, and as conditioned in the tentative parcel map certificate and the grading and dirt haul permit approval, contingent upon City Council and LAFCO's approval of the proposed annexation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving along.
Thank you.
Reports, correspondence, and general information. Report on recent city council actions.
None other than council is on recess, and they will not be returning until August 25th.
Planning commission comments or reports.
Actually, I have a couple of questions. The first one is, we passed the zoning ordinance update. Has that passed the city council?
No, that hasn't been brought forward to City Council. An item that staff had planned to include on the Commission's agenda, your agenda this evening, had to do with one more land use modification that staff wanted to bring forward for the Commission's consideration. And this was to allow an additional use in the light industrial zoning district. We have postponed that particular item to allow staff more time to clarify the staff recommendation with neighbors, and we will be bringing that to the Planning Commission most probably end of August, early September. That way we can take forward one final package to the City Council. So no, it has not gone to City Council yet. Again, we'll be bringing back one more item for the Commission's consideration and discussion before we package everything to Council.
And then the second thing is, on my way walking over here, I noticed that the crosswalk lights on Old County to cross from the east side neighborhood to the train station have not worked. And if I remember correctly, they have not worked for at least the last week or so. And I'm wondering if it's part of the construction and if we can either get temporary stop signs put in there or get those lights put back on.
I will relay your comment to the Public Works Director. Thank you.
Thank you.
Correspondence from staff? Any additional correspondence from staff?
No additional correspondence this evening.
Planning staff comments, reports, and updates of current projects.
Yes, we have a couple of projects that we believe may be coming forward to the Commission, although it will be later in August. We have a project for a new multifamily residential development at 436 Laurel. We have another project that will soon come before the Planning Commission. I know I said this before, but they actually are moving forward. The one at 77 Walnut most likely could come forward to the Commission at the end of August. That being said, the next regularly scheduled Planning Commission hearing is on August 4th, and at this time we don't have any projects that are ready for the Commission's review, so we will be canceling the August 4th Planning Commission hearing and return to our regularly scheduled meeting on August 18th.
Okay, great. All right, with that, I guess I'll adjourn the meeting.